And, you know, this is something that legal observers and people in the music community as well have been watching very, very closely. But again, just within the last few hours, Judge Ural Glanville of Fulton County Superior Court ruled that lyrics can be used. The rap lyrics connected to this case, some of them can be used as evidence of guilt in this massive racketeering case. We're going to discuss this and kind of analyze this a little bit. Again, Surichata Jimenez was a defense attorney on this case. You are still a defense attorney, but your defendant, actually, you were able to get the charges against him dismissed. My colleague Rebecca Schramm lays out some of the facts and what happened today.
Nothing.
During a hearing that lasted late into the night, defense attorneys for Jeffrey Young Thug Williams and his co-defendants tried to get rap lyrics excluded as evidence in the upcoming racketeering trial.
That's why rap music is introduced. That's why no other genre is introduced, because rap music is inherently prejudicial.
Prosecutors argued the lyrics will help them prove that YSL is not just a record label, as the defense claims, but that it's also a criminal street gang.
Why is all this gang evidence relevant? Well, Your Honor, in a Street Gang Act violation charge or a racketeering charge, evidence of the existence and the nature of the organization is not only relevant, it's required.
The judge came back this morning with an answer. 17 sets of lyrics can be used at trial for limited purposes.
I'll conditionally admit those pending lyrics, depending upon or subject to a foundation that is properly laid by the state or the proponent that seeks to admit that evidence.
Our thanks to Rebecca Schramm with that report from Fulton County Superior Court. Okay, so as I mentioned, Surichata Jimenez, I mean, you're very invested in this case since you had a defendant who was one of the 28 charged with racketeering and alleged to have been part of or connected to this alleged gang, the Young Slime Life gang. What is your reaction to this ruling by Judge Glanville?
It's absolutely frustrating, and it's not just only about this case. Anytime a case where somebody's artistic expression is being used against them out of context is problematic. And this happens throughout the nation. I mean, some states like California have established laws to create certain foundational requirements before the prosecution can even get into this. But we don't have that in Georgia. The judge said that they're going to be allowed to use these 17 lyrics for now. If they want more later, maybe they'll bring in more if they can lay the foundation. But it's not clear exactly what that means. Does that mean just lay the foundation as in they are going to have a witness that can testify? Yes, that is Mr. Williams. I recognize him. I recognize his voice because I've heard the voice before and he's saying the words that he said. Or what other foundation do they need? That is problematic because many of these lyrics are in an entertainment fashion. He's singing about life in the streets. Doesn't necessarily mean that he had anything to do with it. And that's what's key about this genre. When it comes to hip hop, people sing about things that are happening in the community. It's like the news. They report what's going on in the streets. That does not in any way mean that they did it themselves.
Okay. And so, and actually here's some video of you inside court during the course of this case and this really the trial has already been massive because jury selection lasted some 10 months already, and just to clarify for our viewers, opening statements begin on November 27th. That's the Monday after Thanksgiving. But when we're talking about the use of rap lyrics now, which is going to be allowed, obviously it's a huge win for prosecutors, a big disappointment for defense attorneys, but in terms of kind of legal precedent that this could set, what kind of ripple effect do you see happening nationwide?
It's gonna be the same thing that's been happening though. They keep doing that, and they've been doing this with maybe smaller rappers that they have some song on YouTube. They're not on a label, and they always try to use that against them. But it's very common that it happens mostly with hip hop. The main difference here is that Mr. Williams is a Grammy-winning artist. He's known worldwide. His songs have a lot more exposure, and that should be a factor because he's not necessarily singing about every little thing he did. He's singing about things that are happening, and he's not the one writing all these lyrics. Just like most entertainers. They have ghostwriters or they have editors. They create a couple bars, and then other people come, modify them, and then there's a final product. So nothing there, to me, gives the reliability that this is a confession. I think that there's like 3 ways that lyrics could be said that can be used. When it is a clear threat, if somebody in a song, whether it's a beat or not, says, I will do this to you, I will go and kill you, and then that happens immediately after, sure, you can put that connection. But again, why do you need the lyric if you have the evidence that it actually happened? Another way that it could happen is when it is clear that it is a confession relating to the facts of evidence that you have. Again, you already have evidence that's corroborating it. So why are you using artistic expression? It seems that if you're trying to go at songs, you are simply stretching. And the most concerning way of how they use it, the third way that they tend to use it is, well, they're singing about violent things, and gangs do violent things. So if they sung about it, they must do it. And that is propensity evidence, and that is usually not allowed. Propensity evidence is frowned upon. It's been frowned upon since we began having trials in this country and back in England. We don't want character evidence. We don't want somebody to be convicted because they're more likely to do something. We want direct evidence. But in this case, because it's RICO and because it's a gang count, the prosecutors abuse that power and start bringing in propensity evidence. I think one of the lyrics that they want to bring in is somebody talking about bodies on bodies on bodies. And this was done years before any of the alleged shootings or murders that are charged in the indictment. So just because you sang about something a long time ago does not mean that you're responsible for other separate and completely unrelated crimes.
Okay, and so then that raises another question. You mentioned, there's so many people involved in a song that there are also even writers, maybe even ghost writers. So to me, it raises a question, does it mean that the writers could be then charged in the crimes? I mean, of course, here, you've got several members of, a purported record label, what prosecutors are calling a gang, what defense attorneys are calling a record label. Several individuals who are connected being charged in this racketeering case. But in other cases, could it be that, someone is a writer and didn't sing about, something that is criminal, but yet they're dragged into the case and they're charged with a crime as well?
Isn't that scary that you're just working in the industry and you're just writing lyrics to sell music, to get some streams and make money, because that is the goal of all of this artistic expression, to make money. And the record labels, they're making a ton of money out of it. But none of these executives are co-defendants. It is only the young black men that happen to perform it that are being accused of this. But that's also scary. They might start bringing in more people. And I think Drake has a song where it says, you mess with YSL, you end up 6 feet deep. What does that mean? We know what that means. It means entertainment. That's what it means. Drake is not being charged, but isn't it kind of scary that this young little Canadian actor could possibly be involved in a racketeering charge just because he said YSL will put you 6 feet under? That is ridiculous. And they should not be abusing somebody's First Amendment to express themselves and tell the narratives of the streets.
That is a very interesting point. So I have a lot of questions now that this is the ruling being that has been made. Is there any recourse for the defense at this point? The trial hasn't even started. Is there any recourse for the defense now that this ruling has been made?
Well, of course, they can always appeal it, but most likely it's not going to happen. They're going to get the judge to reconsider. One of the things that I think they're going to do, and it's probably the best thing to do, is to put it into context. There's such a thing that's called rule of completeness. You want to use a statement, you want to say that I said something out of context, well, you know what? I have a right to say, let's put it in context. So let's listen to the entire song. Play the song in its original version, because it's also best evidence rule. You're not just going to read it from a paper. Play it. You're talking about a song, let's play it with the beat. Let the jury get to listen to it. Let the jury enjoy that song and realize that it's just entertainment. There's one song which says, I think anybody. Nicki Minaj is in that song, I believe. So talks about, I ain't never killed nobody, but it had something to do with that body, blah, blah, blah. And these lyrics are saying that goes to show that Mr. Williams had something to do with Nuts murder. But if you keep listening to the song, a couple of bars later, a couple of lines later, it says, it was 11 in the morning. It was a truancy body. So that doesn't add up. The alleged murder of Mr. Thomas happened in the evening. It didn't happen at 11 in the morning. So which one is it? Is he telling the truth in the song, or are they just lyrics that rhyme and sound good and make money? And that's what all of the songs are. The purpose of the songs are to make money, and it is a terrible abuse of power, and it's scary. It's scary for anybody that wants to have artistic expression. If it doesn't conform with what the government tells you, you're allowed to sing about.
So that said, does it mean, do you anticipate, and this is not a legal question, but it's kind of a cultural question, do you anticipate that the genre of rap music and really all music could change, and that people are going to be a lot more measured and cautious in terms of what they put out there as lyrics?
I think a lot of people are going to be scared, but it's not going to change. They're going to keep pushing the boundaries. Why? Because this is America, and in America, you have a First Amendment. To give fear into people. People are already scared of the city. So we have Instagram pages where the whole purpose of this Instagram pages is to scare you of coming to Atlanta. Don't come to Atlanta because so much crime happens. And that's who their target audience is. All these people that have been victims to fear mongering, and now you playing these songs and they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die from the courthouse to my car. And that is just not true. You know, you live in Atlanta, you visit Atlanta. I visit Atlanta on a regular basis. It's one of the best cities in the world. But the state wants to show that we are in the middle of a war zone, and that's just not correct.
Well, we really appreciate your perspective on this, and I know you're going to keep joining us and following the latest on this YSL case. Again, opening statements beginning the Monday after Thanksgiving, November 27th. And we have been broadcasting on our live stream today's motion and numerous other motions, including, of course, the trial itself. We're going to broadcast that live on our secondary stream, also known as the live event stream on Atlanta News First Plus. All right, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.